In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
What's up, everybody? So, welcome to another pointless automotive podcast, a very special episode. We have our very, very first guest, the one, the only, your friend and mine, David Graham. David, would you like to say hello?
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Oh.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you here. We talk about nonsense in passing all the time with you, and
Cheers,
we figured, hey, salute, and we figured we might as well record some of this, so you get to be our first victim.
Sounds good.
And we're going to keep it pretty much on that front of just kind of talking about nonsense. We don't really have any kind of specific thing we're going to talk about other than the world of automotive cars and some of our various misadventures.
Yeah, I guess. Does this mean we finally hit it big or what? Yes.
Well, considering we're definitely absolutely operating in the red, I don't know if that means we've made it big. Maybe perhaps we've made a big
You're
mistake.
on your way.
We are on our way. We're on our way.
Okay.
We're in our late. I'm in my late 30s, but we're in our late 30s of episodes 2, I believe.
That's correct. Yeah.
Wow.
We're getting-
I didn't
we're
realize
getting-
you had so many under the belt. That's great.
Yeah. There's some notches on that belt, and this is one more. Now we have a guest,
Awesome.
and so I guess let's just start off, David. Who are you? What do you
am I
do?
doing here?
Explain yourself.
Yeah, so we should explain where we are, or do you?
We
does
should.
everyone already know?
Yes.
Okay.
We've been here before. It's been a minute. It's good to be back over at Car Park, KP as we call it. That is a high-end, fantastic automotive storage facility here in sunny Pleasanton, California. There's still the cool stuff behind us. There's a Senna. There's a GT3. There's the awesome Panhard. There's some cool stuff here. There's a motorcycle over there in the corner. And this is sort of your home base.
Yeah, I spend
David?
a lot of time here. My joke is that I spent so much time here hanging out that Daryl put me to work, which is kind of not even half a joke. It's maybe not even a joke.
You're like the barfly that ends up like behind the counter.
So I
serving
spent so
people
much
beers.
time here. Daryl decided to put me to work. No, but seriously, so I helped Car Park set up a private seller marketing program.
Sure.
For clients that occasionally want to sell a car. We usually put them on Bring a Trailer or Craigslist or something like that.
Various
A lot of the
auction
folks that-
sites. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of the folks that want to sell a car, they don't really have the time to deal with all the logistics involved. So
Right.
obviously that's where you come in through your photography.
That's me.
And we'll, get a car in, clean it up, shoot it, put it on Bring a Trailer, curate the whole auction process, and
Sweet.
facilitate the transaction. We're not a dealership. We just help out with the marketing, and the private parties are selling the car to another private party. But it's been working out pretty good. We've done about 25 cars so far.
Dang.
And counting.
Some interesting ones about to go on Bring a Trailer.
Oh boy.
And
Oh, boy.
every car it's
Spoiler
an
alert.
adventure.
Yeah. So you've probably been around some interesting stuff, and I know you've had interesting cars yourself over the years, and you've been basking in the world of automotive nonsense, kind of like us.
That's how we do.
Yeah.
That's how we do intros on this podcast. Is we go over your car history,
Oh.
and then
Yeah.
we judge you.
Oh,
We judge you. Yeah, we shame you where
Quite
appropriate.
yes. Judge away.
So what do you have? What do you have nowadays? What's in your current stable?
So the current fleet is. Do you care about fun cars or dailies or?
Just the fun stuff.
Start with fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
so fun stuff. 2000 996 cab.
Okay.
Manual.
Cool.
2000 996 cab Tiptronic. I share with my son.
And those are both just like base Carrera.
Yeah.
Cool,
Rare
cool.
twos. 2000 base 986 Boxster, which is
Okay.
my son's.
And that's the one you lovingly
Bargain.
refer to as the bargain Boxster.
Bargain Boxer.
That's
is a
been-
$2,500 pickup.
Village Bicycle
We have
edition.
maybe $5,000 into it now, but we've owned it for 4 years.
That's
Done
not bad.
a couple
Not bad at all.
rallies, had fun, fixed a few things along the way.
There you go.
That's
Broke a
fun
few
car.
things along the way. I'm
Yep.
sure.
And then my C4 Corvette, 92 Corvette,
Yes.
LT1 Coupe manual. Got it when I was 27.
Wow.
So I've had it for half my life.
Keeper.
Very cool.
And it's got 200,000 plus miles on it.
Love it.
And, it's not worth anything on paper. But I'd rather
But I've
have-
seen it.
They're
I'd
getting
rather have the
nice.
car
than
It's
the
a
money.
sharp. It's
Yeah,
a sharp
in great
looking
shape.
car.
It's fun to drive. Sitting in my garage right now undercover.
What
And
color is it again?
It's just the LT one, like the basic.
But what color?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. White outside with black inside.
Very
It
nice.
has the
Classic.
blue tinted top. Yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty,
heck yeah.
It's fun to drive.
And you bought that new?
I bought it new when I was 27.
That's dope.
Wow.
That's
Yep.
super cool.
Yep.
That's cool. Like I'm just trying to think of the number of original owner C4 Corvettes that still have them in good shape, are currently driving, and have well over 200,000 miles.
Probably not a
There's
lot.
probably less
Yeah.
than a handful.
Yeah,
like
a
less than
handful,
5.
Yeah, I bought it. So I got it as pretty much my only car. I've had other fun cars in the past, so they've kind of overlapped. But yeah, so basically what happened is the C4 Corvette came out in the spring of '83, and I was a senior in high school. And the C3 had been in production so long that I thought, those were like the majority of the Corvettes you saw.
Right.
So when the
Yeah.
C4 came out, it
Big
was a
plastic bumper
humongous
cars.
deal. And being an impressionable car guy who was, 17 at the time, I just thought that was the coolest. Yeah, exactly. The theme we were just talking about. I thought that was the
Kid.
coolest car I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was a spaceship, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
With the clamshell hood and all that crazy stuff. So that literally became up on, the pantheon of cars up on my wall next to the 911 Turbo and the Lamborghini Countach, and then the C4 Corvette was a little bit more attainable.
Right.
So fast forward to when I got out of grad school, I wanted to get one.
Right.
I thought, I'll wait someday, and then it just so ended up in like the early '90s. There was a little bit of a mini recession, and so the GM dealers were marking these things down massively. So they took $11,000 off the sticker price. I was going to wait and buy a used one.
I mean, what was the sticker on that at the time? Like
30, mine was 39.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
wow. So they just hacked 25% right off the top.
Yeah, so 28K was still a lot of money back then.
Sure.
But I had to buy a car, and I was,
Yeah.
probably gonna. I don't know what I was gonna get. I didn't even drive.
I had to buy a car, and then there was
six
this
Lumina.
Corvette.
Well,
Yeah.
I had driven a C4 before as friends of ours. They had an 85, and in about 1990 they were going to sell it. But I wanted a manual, and
Yeah.
so like when 90 came around and they redid the interior, I thought, okay, I like that. 91 they did a facelift on the bumpers. I thought, ooh, I like that.
Right.
In 89 they had gone for the ZF 6
speed,
So I
the
said, ooh, I want
4+3.
that. So it's
Yeah.
sort of like, ooh, I want that, like every year. Then 92 happened. I'm like, with the LT1, and I thought, okay, that's all the good improvements that I want.
Sure.
And I mean, they made a few improvements after, before the end of that generation.
Right.
But then I thought, well, okay, I'll get one used, but then they were marked down so much, I thought, well, shit, I'm going to take the plunge.
Especially if you're like doing an interest rate thing, and it's like usually the interest rate is better on a new car than a used car anyways. It probably would have been damn near even money.
Yeah, I ended up borrowing money from my dad, but I had to pay him back. And in hindsight, the interest rate he charged me was probably more than I would have paid the bank. So
Yeah, exactly. It
he
wasn't
didn't-
exactly bolstering
yeah,
your
he
credit
didn't really
score
rip
at the
me
bank of
off,
dad.
but he didn't subsidize me either, so it
Yeah.
ended up being fine.
Unsecured
But,
loan.
That's right.
See, I drove it. I had long commutes in my first couple jobs, and so by the time that car was 12 years old, it had 200,000 on it. So then I kind of parked it for a while because I was driving other cars.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, why do I have this thing if I'm not going to drive it? So then I
Amen,
kind of
brother.
Like,
That's the way to do it.
It's had periods of downtime just through being distracted with other cars, but I'm never getting rid of that thing. It's
It's freaking
Yeah.
awesome.
it's like an old pair of jeans, or an old.
Like the Brett Favre and his Wranglers, in those Wrangler jeans
Exactly.
commercials. You remember those?
I thought you were gonna say something about a sex tape.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
I don't think it was a tape. I think it
Wow.
was just like an unfortunate like unit pic that he sent to like
Oh,
some cheerleader
Was
or
that
something.
from the Fappening or no?
No, it was. I don't know how it
I
leaked
feel like
out.
that was similar timing
Not-
though.
I don't leaked out is not the term I want to
a
use for
great
Brett Favre
term.
genitals, but
Just poured out.
yeah, sluiced out. But how did we get here? Wranglers, jeans.
Yes,
So,
yes.
So question. So you're deep into the 200,000 miles on a C4 Corvette. Anything major blow up? Because I mean, that's a car that you don't. I mean, I certainly don't think of them being unreliable, but you're not like putting it up there with like a Toyota Land Cruiser. Like, how's it been reliability wise?
That's a good question. It's actually been super reliable, but that might be a function of how I drove it. So
Okay.
it was a highway only commuter
Got it.
pretty much its entire life. So for a while I was putting like 2,500 miles a month on it. I was changing
Wow.
the oil once a month. I've always changed it myself.
Yep.
So, those are easy miles. And the 6-speed is, you're loafing along on it.
Yeah, you're doing
Gearbox.
So, yeah. So like the
1600
front,
RPM or something.
believe it or not, rear brakes, first time I had to do the brakes was the rear brakes at like 140. The front brake pads were 190. So like, okay, that's like even grandmas don't drive like that, right?
They don't
like
build them like they used to.
190,000 miles on the first set of front brake pads.
is
It's
that
like
possible?
it's all highway miles. So
Yeah,
it's like
it's true. Never
you
touch
just like sit in your car idling, for like hours at a time.
Yeah, that's
So-
aerodynamic. You're probably getting, I mean, those pretty thick, meaty tires. You're probably getting okay gas mileage, I would assume.
I'd
right?
say mid to high 20s on the highway.
Yeah, I think like 25 was my
Yeah.
average.
It's not bad.
I got like 72,000 miles out of my first set of tires.
Okay.
So no one, so it's a kind of an anomaly. No one ever drives a Corvette like that. I autocrossed it one time. I spun out and scared the crap out of myself, and it was fun. Yeah, it's been pretty reliable. People with that particular engine, people talk about the OptiSpark
Right.
distributor, and
Right.
my first one died at like 140, and I'm on my second one. And you just do the water pump and the OptiSpark at the same time.
Was that the thing? The water pump would start leaking and it would weep out of the weep hole onto the OptiSpark?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
early ones weren't vented, so they
okay.
the later ones they had like a little thing for a
Yeah, that little like
vacuum line to go somewhere else. So
Got it. Interesting.
Huh.
yeah, so
OptiSpark.
it's been super reliable. Gone through a bunch of serpentine belts and
Typical.
just kind of lots of oil changes. And,
Batteries.
yeah, I mean it has loosened up over time. It has a lot of squeaks and rattles.
Oh, sure.
The only
I mean, the car knew it had squeaks and rattles.
Exactly.
I
The
think
weather
it was made
stripping
out of
was
like melted
kind
Legos and
Yeah, the weather
chewing gum.
stripping was not that great, so I finally replaced that. That was a little bit of a project I did
Oh,
myself.
yeah.
It's expensive. I've only done 2 mods. I did the muffler delete, and I put on the like big ass cue ball shift knob thing.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And so those are
Like an
reversible.
8-ball shift.
Yeah, kind of like that. I did that before rally. It kind of drones on the freeway.
Sure.
But I looked at all the aftermarket exhausts and everything
Yeah.
except for Corsa drones, and I didn't want to spend $1,500 for Corsa, so
Right.
I just got an extra set of tips and had the muffler shop put those on the straight pipe and then just
Okay.
cut my mufflers off.
Sure.
With the tips included. I mean, intact.
Okay.
So they can just put it right back on if they want. So, or if I want. So
Dang.
Do you frequently wear like Tommy Bahama shirts and then like tuck them into your
Shorts.
khaki shorts?
Yeah,
your khaki
shorts,
shorts.
right?
I don't have the uniform quite down. I don't have the white New Balance with the jorts.
Oh, that's what you need.
I
Yeah.
need to add a few more pounds, although I'm working on it. I need the gray beard and the Hawaiian shirt.
Perhaps a denim fanny pack.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Something like that. Yeah, I
Brilliant.
don't know what it is about. It's funny because
A ball cap that just says Corvette on it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have all the. I think I had a Corvette shirt that I got rid of. I know what you mean. There's kind
Yes.
of the typical, and the
There
thing
is.
is, the C4 kind of all Corvettes, but they kind of have a stigma associated with
Yes.
it. I liked the hardware, not the lifestyle.
Good and good on you for being like I'm
Yeah.
kind of the same way. Like I would love to have like I think like a C6 Z06 would be just an incredibly fun, awesome, all around car to own. But I don't know if I can get past
That's what
being Corvette guy.
people are
right?
like that. Yeah,
But it's such a good sports.
That's
like
the thing. It's so good, and good on you for bucking it and being like, I don't give a damn.
the
I like
C5
it. I'm gonna
Z06.
get it. Like
Same thing,
Yeah.
C5 Z06,
Yes.
wonderful sports car. The C4 ZR1,
No,
which
I love it.
would
That's on
get
the
that
bucket
teal.
list.
That
Well,
is-
even when I drive mine today, it's fun to drive. It's not very refined, and so it's raw. Well, especially with the muffler
good.
delete.
Right.
Now, it still has cats and has a big resonator. So when you delete the mufflers, it's not completely obnoxious, but you
Okay.
get lots of feedback when you let off in second.
Sure,
you get
sure.
like snaps and pops and woofs and fart sounds and all sorts
Right.
of good V8 music. But I'm sure people think I'm a real loser. Like, look at that, look at that guy.
But I think you've come.
Thinks he's cool driving his car, but I really don't give a crap anymore about what people think. It's like I like the car, and if people don't like it, that's their problem.
And I think we have gotten to the point where like a very clean, well kept, stock appearing C4, especially in white. Is it Wimbledon white? Is that the color?
Arctic.
Arctic white. They're like I feel like we've kind of come full circle, and it's like it's kind of cool now.
It's almost ironically cool.
It is because you never see them nice, and if you do
Yeah.
see them, there's
Well, it's in
poorly
the Radwood.
modified.
It
And,
falls in the Radwood category.
Sure.
So
That's true.
but it's like that's hard to like pull off that with like a C5 or a C6. I think the C4 is finally
C5 is
Yeah.
like toeing the line,
I
just
think
barely, right?
I think they
Yeah.
kind of go through like the phases, right? So they're cool in the beginning, and then they kind of become passed around, and they're cheaper, and they're kind of in the doldrums, if you will.
Yep.
Yep.
And then they eventually become classic, but it takes a long time to get.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like it's almost unique to the Corvette a little bit. It's just that Because usually that happens with all cars, not all cars, but most cars, there's like the little bit of a dip and then it comes back. But for some reason, the Corvette, I always feel like the dip is lower and longer.
It is.
Until it comes
It
back
is.
up.
Like, some would say, I mean, the C3, the rubber bumpered C3s are kind of not even out of that era yet.
Yeah, those bumper ones, I don't know if they're ever getting out.
Well, it's hard to follow up the C2, right? I mean,
Or even the earlier C3s, but like those bumper cars, especially they have like 180 horsepower,
Yeah,
you know,
the
boat
Malaysia
anchor.
ones. Well, plus the
Yeah,
other thing is
farm
Corvettes
truck.
used to be relatively cheap compared to what people were earning.
Sure.
It's like your average
Yeah.
like blue collar guy, and there is kind of a blue collar stigma associated
Yep.
with it. But
Sure.
your average guy working in the factory could go buy a new Corvette. Now
Mm-hmm.
the new ones are what, 100K?
I think,
They're-
I mean,
they're-
practically,
they're basically like-
practically,
on
yeah.
the auction sites, the original C8s are fetching that much for sure.
Right,
Yeah,
but
and
I mean,
that's leveled out
like
a
the
little bit,
average.
but I
What's
think-
the average income in the U.S.? 52, 55,000 or something.
Drastically varies by
And the
state.
average C8 is like 85 to 100, or
Yeah.
or is it? I don't know. I haven't priced them
I
out.
think-
Well,
I
they said
think you-
65 sticker, but
Yeah,
you
but
know,
that's-
works.
I think
yeah.
most of them come
So really
with like
85.
2LT, 3LT, and whatnot.
Right.
So I mean, out the door, you're closer to six
Plus
figures
tax,
than you are
plus
mid
this and that, yeah.
mid five. So
That's
yeah,
true.
so it's basically like old guys. I mean, there's a lot of old guys driving the new ones
true.
around.
Right.
Really, the young guys,
Automatic.
their choices
convertible.
are like, you know, ones that are 10 years old.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, hardware wise, a lot of car for the money. I was in love with the C5 for the longest time, but the interiors are not aging well.
No.
They're made
Those
by
big rounded
Fisher
bumpers.
Price,
And,
you know,
yeah,
it's
body
just-
by Fisher Price.
Yeah, they're like
That's-
Pontiac interiors
And I-
back in the day too. Big giant
They
buttons.
do build driving excitement.
Well,
I did
not
get
in
to
the
drive a
button
neighbor's C8, and I liked the interior. I mean, it's the
Yeah,
interior
all
was-
accounts, the
every
interiors on those are
generation,
like they
the-
finally
the interiors
got it
get
right.
nicer.
C7 was really nice too. I liked how everything was like sloped seriously towards the driver. I
Right, you
took
have
us.
a big stack down the center.
Yeah, I was at Laguna Seca when the C7 rolled out with just the Z51 package. Is that
Mm-hmm.
what it is? And it was nothing fancy, just manual. And that thing could lap Laguna Seca like it felt like a supercar. That car was just so great out of the box.
It is. Corvettes are kind of like the white trash exotic.
Oh yeah,
Um,
100%.
And I mean, I'm saying that as a guy that likes Corvettes.
Sure.
And they're attainable for regular people.
Yeah.
But if it was, you know, if it had the if you want to get that equivalent performance in an Italian car, you're talking like, you know, 458 or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
in
you're
a German
talking
car,
4x the
talking
price,
like a,
and then
you know,
4x the price
911
annually to
GT3.
maintain it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, your maintenance intervals wouldn't compare either.
Oh,
You'd be like,
yeah.
oh, I replaced the brakes at, and they're like, oh, I've done that 5 times.
Right.
Yeah,
And it costs 10 times as
190,
much.
190,000
Your
miles
cost
under
of
set of brakes.
ownership is going to go way up, and cost of everything else.
Well, speaking of which, you dropped a couple of 996s as in your stable. So that's a
but-
fairly different experience
A little bit.
than a C4 Corvette, you know, and that's which is interesting because in the Porsche in the 911 world, like the 986 Boxster that you mentioned and the two 996s, those are like the. Would we call those the white trash Porsches? If the white trash supercar
like
is the Corvette?
I like the underdogs.
Sure.
Well, it's also a budget thing. I
Well,
can't
then
afford.
you're on the right podcast.
Yeah,
Mike.
exactly.
Let me tell you.
So, yeah, so
For white
I
trash
can't
also.
afford the old classic ones, and I can't afford the new ones. So I kind of have to fish in that middle ground of the unloved whatever. Now with the C4, I bought it brand new. I was just kind of lucky.
Sure.
But with the 996, yeah, I wanted to get the 911 back in the 06 time frame.
Okay.
And I was
Yeah.
seriously
Yeah.
shopping for like a SC or a G body, you know, so 78 to 88. And my wife informed me that my budget wasn't as high as I thought it was. I had a budget for a fun car, but it ended up instead of getting the nicer example of the G body for like maybe 20K, my budget got cut in half. So I had 10K to play with, and you couldn't really get it. Like the scruffiest 911 SC back then was still like 10, 11, 12.
Right.
Yep.
And I
remember
didn't
that
want to
for
get
the
a
longest
scruffy
time.
car that I didn't know anything about and fight my way out of it, because then I knew I'd be back up to 20K with a car I wasn't happy with.
Sure.
So I just punted and I bought another C4 Corvette, ironically, which I drove for a couple years and then sold. I had a 95,
Okay.
dark purple metallic, automatic, all the options.
Cocaine white interior, because I pictured it having
No, it
a
was
cocaine white
gray
interior.
interior, but it had all
There
the
was definitely
options.
There was
And
cocaine.
that was a fun car. Drove for a couple years and then sold it.
Sure.
But with the 911, so then I realized the 996 was really the only 911 that was realistic for me.
Those were the days
Because
of
years
like the
later-
$8,000 996.
Not anymore.
Yeah. So now fast forward to so we're at 2015. I'm turning 50. I realize I want a 911. I start looking at 996s. My budget was 20. I found one for 20.
Okay, there you
So
go.
I've had 4 996 cabs, including the one that my son and I co-own. One
Any
of
coupes?
which, no coupes, although one of the second, so the first 996 cab I bought, I still have.
Okay.
The second one was an opportunistic pickup in the neighborhood, which I've told Frank about before.
Yes.
For $5,500, I picked up a
Nice.
running and driving, clean title, clean Carfax, 02 996 Carrera 4 cab, Tiptronic. The guy
Okay.
thought the transmission was going out because it was leaking. It was just the trans mount that had allowed the transmission to wiggle around and disturb the seal.
Yeah, just allowed it to pour out.
Yeah, and he was going to donate it. It was in my neighborhood. I was kind of stalking this car. It was parked in his front, driveway, and then kind of side, around the
yeah.
corner. And there were cobwebs growing between it and
Yep,
the ground.
that's the
And
sign right
I
there.
staged an intervention, and basically, long story short, got it for $5,500.
Nice.
Now, the problem is I talk too much, as you can probably guess. So I told my neighbor about it, and she's a great friend, but she kind of glommed onto the deal. So she's like, "Oh, well, you don't need to. You can sell me that one." So I ended up dumping some money into it, like it always happens, and then I sold it to her for a good deal.
Right.
Then there was another 996 cab that was a flip project that turned out okay, and then now the one that my son and I have.
That's the
So
silver
they're fun.
one with
Yeah.
the bumper nipples.
Yeah, it's got the only one I've ever seen with the rear bump or rear parking sensors. It's like the least desirable, in other words, least most affordable
Sure.
Yep.
996 cab Tiptronic. So yeah, we have that one on Craigslist right now. So still available.
There you go. Get them while they're hot.
Yep.
Um, do we get like a finder's fee?
Yeah,
If,
you
if
get
the
a
sale is
commission.
directly through the podcast.
Yes. I
There we
don't
go.
know what it is. But
1/2 of 1%.
We'll
okay.
figure it out.
There we
Yep.
go.
Yep.
There we go. Well,
So-
that's how we make our money here on this podcast, which is why we've made no money.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to say,
exactly.
what money?
So yeah, 996s are fun. The bargain Boxster has a few little things we're working on. There was another Boxster that came and went when I had my dealer's license, but
Okay. Another 986.
yeah, 986 Boxster. It was really nice. I put it on Bring a Trailer, and it at no reserve, and it sold for like $1,000 less than what I had into it.
Oh, wow.
Hold on.
then-
Where's the sad trombone sound?
Yeah, definitely.
There we go.
Then
we go.
it gets sadder, so get ready to hit the button again. so the guy I sell it to calls me like 2 months later and says, "Oh yeah, hey, remember me? I'm the guy that you sold the Boxster to." And I'm thinking like, "Oh crap, the IMS blew up or something."
Right.
He said, "No, I was sitting at a stop sign and I got rear-ended and the car's totaled." Insert sad trombone.
Oh, that was applause.
Oh no! Shoot.
Oh,
Anyway, yeah. So like I put too much. Even although that car was nice, I still spent money on like paintless dent removal.
Sure.
I'm an idiot, so I got cocoa mats for it. Like who does that for a
Boxster.
car flip, right? So I should have said, "Can I at least have the cocoa mats back?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the next thing the guy says, "Oh, can you find me another one?" And I said, "Well,
Like, who do you think I am? Sure, I guess.
sure, but I'm not gonna. You're not gonna get that good of a deal. I can't afford to lose $1,000 on every car I sell." So
Right. Yep.
that was one of the.
Well, yeah, he probably got cashed out like $7,000 more
Exactly.
than what he
Oh,
paid
yeah.
for from
Yeah, he
insurance.
didn't mention that. That would have been another sad trombone. But yeah,
Exactly.
he probably got $12,000 for that car. I think he paid like $9,000 for it.
Well,
But
Bob.
so
Well wrecked, I guess.
but 986 Boxsters are really fun, and I did sell at one point a couple years ago. I sold a 04 Boxster. It was the 550 Spider Anniversary Edition.
Ooh, fancy.
Okay.
So have you seen those or heard of those?
Are those the ones that have like they come with like the convertible boot cover that like
cover?
emulates like the
I don't know if it had that, but basically they made like 1,953 of them. It was like the anniversary of the original
Were
Sure.
550 Spider.
Silver and red?
They were GT. There was another one that was like that. But
Yeah,
this
that's
one-
the one I was
thinking
thinking.
This one is GT Silver,
Okay.
either cocoa or black interior, and it was an
Cocoa.
S, and it had some tweaking on the engine, a different exhaust pipe, body color
Okay.
console,
Okay.
perforated leather on the steering wheel and the shifter gator. It had painted the gauge surround as body color, all sorts of like factory tweaks.
Wow.
And I sold it for a guy on consignment.
Sweet.
But if I got another, like a 986 Boxster to keep, I'd go track one of those down.
That'd be the one.
Super nice.
What were the production numbers on those?
1953, I think. They were all numbered. Wow. And it was an 04. Yeah, so it was basically the last
Like the
year of the
Swan Song,
986.
Yeah, wow.
They've done special editions of Boxsters since then.
Yeah, I remember the red interior silver one. I can't remember what
Yeah, it was
the-
like the RS
yeah,
something,
that thing
something.
was wild looking.
Yeah, because that was basically like homage to the Boxster concept, right? Because the original Boxster concept was that
Silver.
I think you're
silver,
right.
Yep.
silver with the Boxster red interior,
Yep,
which
and
I
they-
might be eyeballing one of those. We'll
Yeah.
save that for later.
You know.
So, do you prefer the 996 in a cab, or was that just happenstance that they've all been convertibles?
I like convertibles.
Okay.
And
I'm okay with
and I
that.
like
Yeah,
stick
I like
shifts.
convertibles.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't like the cabs. The cabs sell for more when they're new and less when they're used. So
Correct.
hey,
Yeah.
hey, don't like the headlights? That's cool.
Yes.
Just makes my point of entry cheaper.
Yeah, right.
So I don't, the more the purists hate it, the more affordable it gets.
I think that's a
And-
limited time thing because it's starting to wear off. They're starting to recognize them, and
These are the same headlights from the 911 GT1. No one complained about them then.
Right.
that's
But I
true.
think the problem is no one wanted to spend, 40 grand for
front end of the
80
front
grand,
clip of a Boxster.
Yeah, 80 grand for a 911, and then people say like, hey, nice Boxster,
Right, yeah.
because they only see the car from the front. But they're super fun to drive, and yeah, they're starting to get some love on
So-
Bring a Trailer and whatnot.
So that's what you have now. What other oddball stuff or interesting things have you had? Because I know we know both of us have had some oddball nonsense.
Mostly
I've had
oddball
a-
nonsense.
Yes.
Since I've had 5 Corvettes. The white one that I have
Okay.
now
Yes.
is obviously I still have it.
The
The first
keeper.
one I bought. Several others have come and gone. I already mentioned the purple 95.
Yes.
Yep.
I had a 71 that was like a stock restored show car.
Okay. 350 car.
350 automatic coupe.
Lots of chrome.
The guy I bought it from, it was Nevada Silver, so kind of like a
okay.
gunmetal. The guy I bought it from took second place at the Palo Alto Concours in like '04, I think it was. So I thought like, hey, I have a guaranteed second place. So I spent all this money and fixed it up and I entered it and then I got second place. But I'm like, oh, well, hey, it's kind of fun. I'd been to car shows before, but I had never podiumed or whatever you call it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
drive across
Metal.
the reviewing stand and everyone does like the
golf clap,
golf
yeah.
clap, and some gal hands you like this big crystal trophy. So it's kind of fun, and they make it fun because I didn't know the drill is that they put a little ribbon on your car, it tells you you've won, but they don't tell you which place. And then at the very end, before you go across the reviewing stand, they want to have some suspense, right?
Okay.
So they say like, so say we're the top 3, right?
Sure.
They
Yeah,
might say
of
like,
course.
okay, you go first, and then you're behind him, and then you're behind him. So it means 3, 2, 1.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
But I didn't realize that's how they did it. I just thought you just do 1, 2, 3, or I don't know,
Yeah.
random or
One
whatever.
in the middle. Maybe that means
So
the
as soon
first,
as
you know?
they did that, you go, they all turn and look at me and they're like, you won. And I go, how do you know? And they said, because it goes 3, 2, 1. I'm like, okay, sounds good. But then, so then I took it to the concours up at Serrano and I won my class. Ooh. That was kind of like, you're at the top of the mountain, right? So then I thought, oh, I have a good chance of winning my class at these other shows. Then I kept getting third. And then, what I realized? I have young kids at home. I should be hanging out around with them instead of, like, chasing these
Overrated.
like cheesy trophies at car shows and
Sure.
so on.
That's cool though.
Yeah, I was getting really obsessive. Like that car has those big square exhaust tips.
Correct.
And I
Yeah.
was cleaning the inside, so you can see the hole where the exhaust comes out, but then there's the square part around
Right.
it.
It's just like a finisher.
sooty.
Yeah.
So I was cleaning those with Q-tips dipped in lacquer thinner, like on the show field, so it looked like a brand new exhaust. And then,
I mean-
I was getting to that level of like weirdness.
Minutia.
I mean,
Yes.
I do that under timing belt covers, so I mean,
Fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
what's more insane? You
So
know?
I didn't know if I owned the car or the car owned me, and I only took it
Fair.
to car shows, and sad but true, we needed a minivan at some point, so you can do the trombone sound.
No,
So I
no,
sold-
please. I'm
We like
team
minivans.
minivan over here.
I sold that and
Applause.
a Camry and paid cash for a Honda Odyssey,
Okay.
which has ended up being a great vehicle.
That's what
I'm
they
telling
do.
you. Team
Yeah.
minivan
So,
all the way.
yep.
You should lift it. And then okay, so that was your third other Corvette.
Sorry,
right?
2 more Corvettes. The Midnight Craigslist impulse buy, 81 Corvette,
Now you're speaking our language.
$3,200.
Okay.
Bought it, looked at it at night, and
Is that the Crossfire fuel injection?
picked it up at night. So it was like
That's the best time to check the car
Coyote
out. I've
date
heard.
Corvette.
Yeah, right.
Got it home in the light of day, went out in the morning and looked at it, and I'm like,
Wept.
What was
pretty
it?
rough. It was like the paint was like coming off in giant bubbly sheets of clear coat.
Oh, that's good.
I have similar
It's terrible.
experiences on the Craigslist personals section.
Yeah,
Meeting
nice.
people at midnight and then
Yes.
waking up the next day
Chewing
being
your
like,
arm
what
off.
did I
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, my wife
So
made
much
me
for
park around the
Kurtz.
corner. I ended up spray painting it with. I'm painting it with spray paint cans in
Beautiful.
the street. Yeah, I don't know why my neighbors even put up with me. That was my own
Wow.
neighborhood. But anyway, then I had the other Corvette was a '67 small block coupe, 327, 300 horse.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was selling. I had a '69 GTO Judge that I was selling
Okay.
in order to get the Corvette, but then the sale fell through on the GTO.
Oh no.
And my wife said, okay, well, now you have to pass on the Corvette. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And long story short is we were having our second kid, and we had just sold one house and we were moving to the other. So we actually had money in the bank, but it wasn't earmarked for car
It was
buying.
earmarked for a home.
Yeah. So I quickly found a second buyer for the GTO and sold
Right.
it to him. Yeah, because before the Corvette phase, currently in the 911 phase, before that was Corvette phase, before that was Pontiac GTO phase.
Interesting.
So right after college, I bought a 68 GTO convertible that was kind of partially disassembled.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the GTO was a fun fixer-upper project. It was Verdoro green with a parchment interior. I painted it red. It was a 4-speed, and I had it painted like whatever late model Corvette red. And boy, I've never been in a car that has attracted that much attention. Of red with a white top, GTO convertible.
4-speed. There's a 400?
400 non-matching numbers, but 350
Proper,
horse, 355 posi. Just a lot of fun. I sold it to a lady. I worked at this credit card company, and this gal in the IT department was a biker person. She might be listening to the podcast someday. So
Yeah.
she
Hi,
was
Cheryl,
a very
or
nice
whatever it is.
Hope you still have
Harley
that
Davidson
GTO.
enthusiast. She still has it because I connected with her on LinkedIn a couple years ago, and she said she still has the car.
That's awesome.
So
That's
I
really cool.
said,
love when
like,
it
hey,
works
if you
out
ever
like
want to sell it, let me know. So I think it's just been sitting in her garage the whole time.
There you go.
But yeah, it was a fun car.
Heck yeah.
Very cool.
Good memories of that one.
So some muscle cars, some 911s,
Oh, and then I had the GTO Judge after the convertible.
like
So
a real deal judge.
Real deal, matching numbers, PHS documented, Ram Air 3 4-speed, Liberty
Nice.
blue with a dark blue interior, because after the first 2000 you could get them in any GTO color.
That's interesting.
Rally gauges, 4-speed with a T-handle, and rally headlights and hood tack, all factory.
Dang.
It was the exact spec.
That's cool.
The exact color, what I had been wanting for years. So, and I
And you
bought
just-
it from
you
the guy that owned the goat farm. So when I got the
I
Corvette,
was like, a goat farm? Like,
Oh,
oh,
parts
goat
place.
farm.
Sorry.
Okay. Like
There
an
was a-
actual,
there
goat
was
man had a goat farm.
yeah, no, not literally a farmer.
He was raising them.
No, there was a guy.
I'm here for the GTO.
much.
Sir, can you please stop making goat noises? I'm the owner of the goat farm.
Luckily, it wasn't that guy. But
No.
so I bought
It
the
was the other goat
Corvette,
farm,
and I
the
was
big
supposed to sell the '68 convertible.
Okay.
And in the
Yep.
process of going to get some parts to
was
fix that up, I
supposed to.
found the Judge, and I said, "Oh crap, this is the car I've always wanted."
Yeah.
Right.
So my plans to sell a GTO when I got the Corvette, those plans went out the window.
Dilemma.
Instead, I just switched from one GTO to the other.
Got it.
And my wife was like, "Hey, I thought your plan was to sell,
You're like, something popped up.
sell
honey.
it and not replace it." And I said,
A plan is just a little prayer to
Said
Father Time.
Something suddenly came
Prayer
up.
was answered differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were
The
anticipating.
one I've always wanted has now appeared at my doorstep, and I just snagged it. So I had that one for 7 years.
Okay.
I took
Cool.
it on the Hot Rod Magazine Power Tour
Ooh, the Power Tour.
in 1998.
Is that still around? The Power Tour?
It is. They used to do East-West,
Right.
and now they just go from like Milwaukee to Dallas. And they have thousands of people that show up for that thing.
Can you bring anything to the Power Tour now, or does it have to be still like pre-72, like 72 or older, like American Muscle?
I think it's a free-for-all. It was a free-for-all back then.
Okay.
I went the 4th year they did it, and my father-in-law and I went. It was Pomona to Mount Clemens, Michigan, Pomona,
Wow.
California,
What is
There-
that, like 1,900 miles?
something like that.
Yeah.
There were cars breaking
Pretty
down.
Oh, I was
leaving-
going to say, yeah.
leaving the parking lot in Pomona. There were cars breaking down.
That's
And
fantastic.
it was a crazy adventure, and we went the whole way, the long haulers. There were like 400 of us that went the whole way, but people could join up and drop off anywhere.
Sure.
So by the time we got to Denver, there were 2,000 cars moving in this giant blob, and they were like gas station takeovers, and
Oh, yeah.
at night hotel takeovers, and yeah,
good
it was
time.
pretty crazy. It was fun. My wife told me it was a once in a lifetime thing because I could only
Because
go
you can only go
once
one-
in my
yep.
lifetime.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'd maybe do it again, but I'd have a car with air conditioning and maybe a modern transmission.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what the most like still a cool car, but like least appropriate for the Power Tour thing would be like a modern Bentley, maybe. Like I don't.
That's true. Yeah. Something
Mm-hmm. And you have
modern.
a driver.
Yeah,
and
you
you
want-
just sit in the back seat.
You want some
of
creature
your Continental with a driver and just like drinking VSOP and
Or like a Tesla Plaid, something that is fast as hell, but not at all.
Yeah, full
Full-on
self-driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're basically, in our case, we were in a car for 10 days. So,
Damn.
and we had the windows down, and the thing had Flowmasters on it, so you're deaf.
Oh, I can imagine.
And
So much cooler.
You're
on the
eating
road.
crap like every night. It's like carnival food.
Like 11
And you're
Jack
staying
in
in
the
like
Box tacos
the
every
you know
night.
Days in like boondocks, and yeah. By the time I liked it, but my father-in-law was getting kind of sick of it towards the end.
Sure. I
'Cause-
mean, 10 days is like, what are you only doing? Like 200 miles a day?
Well,
like,
actually, sorry, it took 5 days to get out, but we were in Detroit, so we had
oh,
to
then
drive.
you got to find your way back.
My
yeah.
wife flew out, and we just drove home the same route, but we kind of cannonballed back just to get home.
Sure.
But it was funny because whenever you'd meet anyone on the power tour, it wasn't like, "Hi, my name's David. Oh, you're Frank. Nice to meet you, Frank." It was more like,
I'm Jim
"What are you
with the
driving?"
Chevelle. Yeah.
And the guy would be like, "Hi, I'm Joe, and I'm from Denver. I'm in a '70 Chevelle 454 with a 373 Posi and a turbo 400."
Oh, of course.
It's like the weirdest AA meeting
it was like
possible.
literally
hi,
like
my
name, rank,
name's
serial
John,
number.
and I've got a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, it
Thank
always
you, John.
involved like
Wait, hold on. We have the
Engine-
button. Thank you, John.
yes. So that's what it was like. So
Wow.
Yes.
it was interesting.
That's cool. Like, yeah, I've never wanted
wanted to do
Freudian
that.
slip. I've always wanted to do like something like that. I don't know if I can, like, that's a long time dedicating a week and a half to it. If it's like I think I've got about like 3 days worth of rallying in me is probably about my limit.
Yeah,
Um,
it was fun, but I don't think I mean, I don't know if I'd rather go to Europe or something. I mean, for the time spent.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it was fun to do. And my
No.
father-in-law, unfortunately passed away, but
Mm-hmm.
it was a great experience.
sure.
Yeah.
Great bonding experience. He
you go.
was good company
That's cool.
on the
Yeah.
trip. So yeah, very
That's when you
memorable.
find out someone's not good company on a long
Oh,
muscle car
Yeah.
road trip.
4 hours in, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, well, my dad met it. He was out in like somewhere in Illinois on business.
Okay.
So he joined us for like a couple days. Now my
Sure.
dad's passed away too. Bless his heart. He was good company, but he went in one of these gas station stops and bought like, this top 100 corny joke book, and he proceeded to read them all to us over the next like 2 hours. And I didn't know if
man.
I should throw the joke book out the window or throw him out the window. But yes.
Yes. Such a dad move.
It was like dad jokes, like you can't turn the volume down because he's like, "Oh, but wait.
Hold on.
Wait. Here's one more." And I'm like, "No."
You get it because
I'm like-
he goes on to
You can
explain
only
the joke.
groan so many times, before it.
Can someone turn up the exhaust drone, please? I don't want to hear any more of these
Yeah.
jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
he loved those. Loved
That's
those
cool.
jokes.
So now you're in the 9/11 phase. You said you self-proclaimed you're on the 9/11 phase. Would you picture yourself going back into the muscle car thing?
Maybe.
Hard
I think-
maybe. Hold on, we have an 8-ball.
Yeah. let's do the eight-ball.
Let's do the 8-ball. Will everyone's friend, Mr. David Graham, get back into muscle car ownership? Hold on,
What does it say?
signs point to yes.
Oh, it's decided.
Very cool.
So if that's the case, what do
I-
you've done the Pontiac thing, you've done the Corvette thing. Do you think you would go into like uncharted waters and get like yourself like an AMC Javelin or
I
something?
got,
Like
a
what
hot,
do you?
I got a hot pick for you, Dave.
Funny-
I think you should go IROC Camaros. I think that's what you're thinking.
IROC?
Yeah, you're feeling it
Okay.
a little bit.
On those two notes that you guys just mentioned,
Yes.
I have always had a thing for the 1982. I haven't even talked about it.
Turbo Trans Am?
No. Okay, so I always like the
hot.
82 Camaro Indy pace car.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, then also on the muscle car thing, I have always
Something
liked
Spicoli would
the
leave for.
American Motors AMX.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
look
But,
great.
but I forgot to tell you, my very, very first car that was my own was when I was 17, I conned my dad into buying me a new Pontiac Trans Am. So I got an 82 Trans Am when I was
Okay.
17,
First car.
summer
Okay.
before my senior year. That's the good news. The bad news is my dad was very frugal, so it was the least optioned car ever built in the factory in wherever they built them.
Nice.
In
Claim
Van Nuys, California,
Amtrak
or
or
whatever.
wherever, yeah.
Yeah. AM radio, tinted glass, and I got the sports suspension, WS7 they called it. It was like a
Sure.
Okay.
WS6, but they called it WS7. And that was it. No AC, no tape deck, no T-tops.
350?
305,
305,
automatic,
that's right,
because I
305.
didn't know how to drive a stick. And it was really slow, but it handled quite well.
Yeah.
I kept that car for 7 years, and then I sold it because I got the GTO.
What color?
It's kind of a sky blue color with black interior. Now, with
Okay.
no air conditioning, I just melted in that thing. 'Cause there's-
Sure.
The car had a lot of glass, it's like.
Yeah, that big glass hatch.
Nothing but
Yep.
glass.
Yeah, air conditioning was all a cart, and my dad didn't think it was worth the $600. So I sweated my ass off in that car.
I'm a
for
firm
7
believer
years.
that everyone's, at least it's harder, it's gotten harder now, but in my head, I'm a firm believer that everyone's first car should be a no AC car.
Really?
Yeah.
I like no power. I think you should learn to drive a no horsepower, no handling, good dynamics car to make you a better driver. I'm a big fan of that. Start off
think
with
it's
a
fair.
crap
I think-
box and get better.
I think both of you guys are right. I mean, because then
Well, it comes with the no AC option.
Here's your
Then you can
base
appreciate-
model Chevrolet Celebrity.
Yeah.
you can appreciate when you finally get something better. You realize
Exactly.
that those sort of like automotive hardships, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
are best sort of experienced when you're young and you either don't know any better or you are okay sweating your ass off.
Some of
Nowadays,
us-
I think
a lot-
I'd
yeah.
be like in physical distress if I was getting in a car that was parked in the parking lot
Oh,
for 5
yeah.
hours on a 90-degree day and get in and roll the windows down and expect to arrive someplace without looking like a complete sweat.
Right,
monster.
you're trying to get somewhere in like a dress shirt or something like that, and
You're
slacks, and like a
Yeah, that's like
button up,
that's
yeah.
like dangerous for your health. Actually, by the time you're over 40 or whatever, when you're a 17-year-old kid, you don't know any better. So
Well, yeah, I mean that was just like I took the kid to a car show this past Sunday in the 924 Turbo. Put the car seat in it. We go to the show. We're leaving and we're driving around afterwards. And he's just like, it's hot. Can you like turn the air conditioning on? I'm like, don't have air conditioning, man. He's like, what? He was like dumbfounded. He's like, it's okay. He's like, this car's fast. It's okay. I was like, yes, you got it. That's exactly right.
It's all about sacrifice.
Yeah, buddy. It's fast. I mean, for him, it's fast. It's not fast, but
I'm surprised you weren't. You're lucky this damn thing's running.
turn this thing around. Yeah, well, he is lucky that damn thing is running because it's 924 turbo. But
Exactly.
but yes, no.
So we-
Okay,
so we tell
so you're gonna go
Chadwick-
AMX?
well, you could tell Chadwick about that list, by the way, the Haggerty list. That
Oh yeah, the one he sent me, just like, dude, check it out. It was just like the most unreliable cars ever, and they're like #1 Porsche 924 turbo.
Oh.
And I was like, ooh.
know.
And maybe we keep going down the list. What other cars
I
do I
wasn't
own
trying
this
to
on here?
stab you with a dagger, but that was I saw that. And I'm like, oh come on, come on.
They say that. A lot
What
of
have you
Oh,
people
done
say
to my
that, though,
boy?
We
yeah.
had the Aston Martin Legenda on there, which is a bucket list car for me, but I'm never gonna drive one.
LS swap
But,
your Lagonda.
would I go back to a muscle car? Maybe. I just remember that. So the GTO was really, I mean, not a really safe car to drive in
Sure.
terms of safety and whatnot, but just that drivetrain combo, and especially the Muncie 4-speed with the Hurst shifter, it's just like such
Good
a
feel.
solid like chunk chunk. I'm like
Right.
you all, there were, not a lot of choices of gears to be in anyway, but very connected feeling and just the torque of that car.
Yeah.
Right.
Now it got like 8 miles per gallon, so I mean,
That's about right.
Yeah. Not a good daily.
my
at this
best
point.
was like 12 on the freeway.
Wow, that was
the
really doing
best
something.
gas mileage.
And you probably only
And
go
I
like
drove like a
55.
grandmother,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, key off coasting.
Yeah,
Yeah, you said 355
so
gears,
like
right?
nowadays,
So,
I can't afford to drive a car like that. Just
No, yeah, not today.
yeah, but it was fun. But it would be fun to. What I would like to do is, if I had a car like that, is have my kid drive it and just
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
get his input. He likes cars. He's good at driving a manual transmission, but
how old is he now?
he's 21.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I think it would be funny to kind of get his feedback on what it's like to drive an old school muscle car.
Right.
I mean, he'd say the steering is crap and the brakes
are
suck
crap,
and handling sucks and
Ponderous
likes
and it's
to-
uncomfortable.
But it
and-
looks beautiful, sounds amazing.
yeah, those cars are best in their element. No more than third gear, driving around
going back and
town,
forth to the sock hop.
cruising
yeah.
around town. Yeah, but 2,500 mile
Bit of
road
malt.
trips on the freeway, not so much.
The power tour.
Especially with a dad joke book in the back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
I wanted the dad joke book delete option. On
Yeah,
that.
please.
Unacceptable. So, I think we should maybe try something a wee bit different. And now for something completely different.
We're going to introduce our.
I think we should, so we have our tried and true quiz game. I said quiz.
It's not what I heard.
Eh,
It's not what your eyes said.
Well, hey. The thing with the quiz show is normally I or Chadwick would ask either one of us, or I should say we would read a piece of automotive print copy from the 80s, 90s, or early 2000s, and the other one of us would then have to guess what the make and model of that vehicle is based purely on the verbiage in the ad. However, we've got a guest.
Yep.
So why don't we do this? How about, because I believe, Chadwick, it's your time to be the quiz master.
Correct.
Master. And so instead of just asking me, I think we've got a guest. So me and our lovely guest here, we should partner up. We should combine forces and see if we can figure this thing out.
Wow, you guys gonna get it in 3 guesses? Still 3 guesses.
We get
Is
3
that how it
guesses.
works? Okay.
Yep. So he's going to read the print ad. We're subtracting out all of the giveaway information.
Sometimes.
Yeah, right. And then it's on us. We got 3 guesses to figure this out. We can
Sounds like
ask for
fun.
hints should we need them. Without further ado, David, are you ready? Are you prepared?
I'm ready.
He was born
I
ready.
have memorized all my old car magazines. and
Sweet. Well,
Road tests.
I picked a
reviews.
gem for you guys.
Hustler, like the automotive
No.
reviews, and it was the
Yeah,
Playboy
no, it
did
was
those, I
all-
think, right?
They had words.
Well,
Just
in
car
there somewhere.
magazine. Just
Yeah.
car magazine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
the
right,
other ones.
scoot that way a little bit, Frank. I'm gonna get you guys set up.
Breast the cards,
Okay,
so to
here's
speak.
here's the ad, guys.
Okay, what do
so
we
the
got?
top half is this vehicle driving through some water splashing up. So it's kind of an interesting
boy.
scene. There's some young people having a blast. So we'll just
boy.
pick it up from there.
Literally figuratively.
It's in bright red.
So this is a print advertisement.
Yep, out of a magazine.
80s, 90s,
Those were things
early
that like, you would
2000s.
read, a periodical, if you will.
Okay.
Okay, guys. It not only looks like fun, it is fun. Max fun. In fact, according to Sport Truck, so that's an actual review,
Okay.
with a powerful 2.3 liter fuel injected engine. Okay, this is iffy. For racing with the wind.
Sure.
That's the asterisk. A removable canvas top for a little fresh air, so that's a big hint. And an optional 4-wheel drive with big 31 by 10.5 inch wheels. So you'll never be a stick in the mud. Enough fun stuff to be. Whoa, missed that one. Okay,
You
enough
okay- you
fun
okay with
stuff
that?
to be car and driver. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I'm reading the right thing.
Got it.
Best in class.
Okay.
I guess that would really happen.
Sure.
With the highest overall owner satisfaction rating in its class.
Oh boy. Okay.
The blank. The undisputed king of the pleasure cruise.
Wow. Okay.
So-
So, not a lot to work on there.
Not a lot of
Removable
spec stuff.
canvas top is a big deal. 2.3 liter fuel injected, which screams Ford to me, because you had the 2.3 Lima 4-cylinder that was in like the Ford
Oh, like
Ranger.
Okay.
In the, was it in the Bronco 2? I suppose it probably was in the Bronco 2. Right off the rip, though, you said Max Fun and then truck, so I was like, is it a Mighty Max? But I don't think you
Right
get,
on the cheek right there, on the chin.
yeah, exactly. I don't think you can get a Mighty Max with a
Who made
2.3.
that?
It was a Mitsubishi. It was a pickup truck. But I don't think you can get that with a removable canvas top. I can't think of any pickup truck with a removable canvas top that isn't the Dodge Dakota Sport. But I don't think you can get that with a 2.3.
Yeah. I'm thinking like Suzuki Samurai.
Could be, but I don't know.
That had a little Jeep type.
It's very similar to that. Yeah, removable canvas top. But I think 2.3 I think is too big of a motor for those, because I think those only came with like a 2 liter or a 1.8 or a 1.6.
Yeah, the Max thing had me thinking Mitsubishi.
Could it be?
And the copywriting's pretty cheesy, so that would make it
Right.
like 70s, 80s.
This
I think
feels
they got a little
80s. It could be
better.
maybe 90s with the splash.
Do you think they had the corniness still in the 90s? Because the 70s and 80s stuff is.
We've
Yeah.
seen some corny
Chadwick
stuff
shaking
in
his
the
Yeah,
head.
they did
Yeah.
with
Okay.
we did the Suzuki X90.
Oh boy.
That was nice, good and corny. Dang.
So how does this game work? We have to guess the car.
We
and
get to
then
we get to we get to make a
without
guess.
we put our official guess in.
We put our official
Okay.
guess in.
Okay.
With a removable canvas top. That's the kicker.
Oh wait, hold on.
Yes. What you got for
Could
me?
it be some Jeep derivative,
It could be.
like a little Wrangler?
The only thing
You
is,
can
I
get
think
4 cylinders, right? But
I
wasn't
think
it
those
like
were
a-
all 2.5s. You had the AMC 2.5, which then turned into the Chrysler 2.5. I don't think you can get a 2.3. At least not in the 80s or 90s or early 2000s.
So we're talking a 4x4 though, since they're driving through some.
Well, here's the thing. Available 4x4. it said.
Optional was the.
So it was not
No, so
standard.
aren't all Jeeps like
Every Wrangler is...
4x4?
Maybe it. You know what? Shoot. Could it be the convertible Dakota? You could go no, because that came with that same Chrysler AMC 2.5 was for the 4-cylinder. And I don't know if you can get that in a 4x4. I know you can get that on a 4. Boy, we're kind of rambling here, aren't we?
I'm kind of stumped.
I'm going to see if I can just absolutely pull it out of my prison pocket here and go with, could this be an Isuzu Amigo? Let's run with it. Is this an Isuzu Amigo?
Let's see what it says here. The top of the ad I didn't read said beach ball. I don't know why I left that off.
That's very
That
helpful.
changed our answer.
Yeah, actually.
So in the ad, it says the Isuzu Amigo, the undisputed king of the Porsche
Dude.
Cruise.
That is amazing.
I did not know that was a 2.3. I know those
Wow.
you can get it with a 4-cylinder,
See-
and I know they had the convertible top.
The V6 later was the more popular.
Right.
Wow.
This is an early one.
I'm impressed. Very good.
Guess how much it costs, guys?
Ooh.
Let's see if you can get the
Do we have a
prices.
year? Did we say
What
the year?
What year is this from?
Should I give you the
80,
year?
early
This
80s?
is like 91.
It also had a 2.6 liter S model.
Oh wow.
This is
That's
1990.
90. Okay.
So I want each of you to pick a number. We'll see Price is Right rules.
I'm going to say 12,995.
Okay.
Um,
1990, a Isuzu Amigo. Starting price.
Oh,
How did I fucking get that? That's bullshit.
what did you say? 12?
I said 12,995.
Yeah, I'm going to say 13.9.
9799.
Ooh, what a
Wow.
You
deal!
guys would have paid so much for
Well,
your
I know I would
Amigos.
have overpaid.
I know.
I gotta share the
Paid
ad
too much,
with you.
amigo.
It's actually a pretty sweet ad. So you got the, let me scroll up here. You got the,
Look at
Oh,
that.
wow.
look at the people in the back having
Yeah.
the
It's
most
like a
fun.
Subaru Brat.
Isn't
She's
that
about,
awesome?
she's about 11 seconds from
This is-
tearing that tube top off.
Wow.
And jumping on that surfboard.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's going to be great. So very,
Very
Very
cool
good.
ad. This is the first gen. They did change a little bit for the. They had a second gen.
Excellent.
But look how awesome that thing is.
that is fantastic. The Isuzu Amigo, which yes, I completely pulled that out of my rectum.
That was a good guess.
It was
Yeah.
it was something. It was
Crazy.
certainly a guess, but I feel like it had to have. Yeah, it kind of checked the boxes. That 2.3 though, man, I was thinking Ford. If Ford made a bunch of stuff like that, you know, but they didn't have a ragtop on the Bronco 2.
That's why I thought it was fair and challenging because it didn't have a lot of tech specs, but it had a canvas removable top, which really limits what you guys were
Yeah, it's
chasing.
a good
after.
hint, but it narrows the field significantly.
Yeah,
Right.
you have to either know it or
Or guess it.
guess it.
Should we? I was thinking we should celebrate by really getting into some PCP.
We're all cool here.
Well, yeah, we
Yeah.
get wet.
We're cool.
Yeah.
Guys like to party?
So, for the uninitiated, that is a Project Car Progress. I think we
Wait,
need
what?
to start with our guest. Sir, do you have a project car you're currently working on? And
Oh.
have you made any progress on it lately? We use that term very
I'm just going
loosely.
to say, since it's an interesting topic, I'm going to say the bargain Boxster has now, it now has an issue. The steering, the horn is honking when I turn the steering wheel. It happened.
As if it were horny.
It happened when I was parallel parking it, and so of course much furious googling ensued.
Sure.
And fortunately, that's the one thing I love about the 986 Boxster. There's a fix on the internet for $6.
Of course there
Yeah,
is.
For
buddy.
this problem. So this is always like, do you do the Bubba fix or do you buy the Porsche part?
Well, it's called the Bargain Boxer, right?
Right. So yeah, the bargain Boxster.
bargain
It
Boxster.
also,
You do
it's
the
pretty
cheap
much by
fix.
definition, it should always have the cheap fix. So all the parts generally we buy are used, and it's DIY.
Sure.
And
Awesome.
even the mods we've done are cheap and do
the way
DIY.
to do
It's
it.
sort of our theme because we have like no budget.
Perfect.
So I realized that to fix the horn randomly honking, you just need to install 4 O-rings on the horn plate that's underneath the airbag. Looks like it's, according to the internet, it looks like it's going to be about a maybe half-hour fix, and then I bought a whole package of O-rings, so I'll have a lifetime supply for the next time it happens. But
You have to put the steering wheel, take it off and put it back on, right?
yeah, disconnect the negative cable on the battery, leave it for half an hour.
So you don't blast
So
yourself
you
in the
don't
dome
blow
with your
yourself
airbag.
up. Yeah, it's two
Overrated.
like T30 torques, I think, to take the airbag off. Or
I think it was
Right.
the same on the
2 or 4.
E30 BMW.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's this metal plate, kind of looks like a dish that's curved, and there's 4 bolts. You take that off. What happens is it has rubber isolators, and they just wear out over time, and metal
Right.
contacts metal, and
Gotcha.
there's a random beeping. Most of the guys I read on the internet said that it was doing that when they were braking, but mine was turning, just like a slight beep, not a hard beep. So I think there's just like a
enough.
teeny thing
Yeah.
going on. So I'm thinking the O-ring thing will work. My son is supposed to help me on these projects, but he's going back to school. But to be honest, all he does is hand me the wrenches, so it's mostly
Right.
me
Hold the
anyway.
flashlight.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's the flashlight holder, so I'll just have to do this one during
That's
the
a
day.
flashlight.
Yeah, he's the flashlight holder.
Yep. So that's the next project for the bargain Boxster.
Nice.
Sweet.
What do you got going on in your
Me?
garage, Frank? Yeah.
Oh boy. Let's see. I mentioned before I took the 924 out for a romp, and it is back to being really hard to cold start.
Again?
Yeah.
Never stopped.
Yeah, well, no, it stopped for a minute, and now it's like I have to, and I feel bad doing it, so I have to fix it. Like I have to, as I'm cranking it, like feed it a ton of pedal to get it air, otherwise it floods out. And so if I do that, then it works. But then it's like from like cold crank to like revving to 5,000 RPM instantly, which it's a really good way to wipe your bearings.
Real good way to do it.
So I need to not do that. So I need to fix that. That's a new discovery. Otherwise, really the only thing I have going on is I might be getting my own bargain Boxster. TBD. The folks at my car donation client, they got in this 98 Boxster. They've had it there for a while. It's a little rough around the edges. It's sat. There's some minor body damage, but it's an early Boxster. 127,000 miles. It fires up. It runs, but loud timing chain rattle on cold start. Air conditioning doesn't work. Rear window's a little foggy. It's got minor body damage. The tires are old. On and on and on. I might be able to scoop it for like less than $4,000, and if I can get it for less than $4,000, I think I'm legally obligated to purchase it and then do bad things with it.
Of course.
I should hopefully have a resolution soon. The real resolution is I don't freaking buy it because I don't need anything else.
Well, come on.
But
man.
that's less fun, and
Where's the
that would not be
entertainment
good
in that?
podcast fodder. So,
I think you should get it.
you okay?
Yeah,
See,
it'll
that's
be
one
like
vote.
Son of Bargain Boxster.
There he is.
Kind of like
It'll be-
Son of Godzilla, right? And then we can give you tips and tricks on all of our hard-earned
feeding.
wisdom
Cheap fixes.
mods. Yeah, the Pedro. There's a place, Pedro's Page or something like that. We found a lot of cheap mods.
Oh,
like
no, that makes
Thank God for
Deep-
Pedro.
Thank God, yeah. Pedro is awesome. The D-Snorkel mod is a good one.
Oh,
It
the
takes
butt
the little
snorkel
plastic
mod?
air silencer out of the intake tract, and you just get that good induction honk.
That,
20
We did a
horsepower.
partial muffler bypass, which cost us $80 at a muffler shop.
oh boy, I don't
Makes
know,
it-
80
Makes
bucks.
some fart sounds when you decelerate.
Oh, poor man's burble tune.
Yep.
I already like where this
Then
is
you have your
going.
whole list of fixes already. I think you should get it.
Yeah. It keeps throwing check engine lights for secondary air system.
That's fun.
There's lots of potential pitfalls, but potential funness. So that's on the horizon. So that's actually probably progress, really, because I'm just adding more project to my car. Dumb. How about you, Chadwick? What have you been cooking as far as meth or PCP or
I'll
whatever?
bring David up to speed on this because he doesn't know this. I'm fixing up my buddy's 5.0 Mustang GT from 1989.
Ooh, Fox Body.
Yep, and it has a lot of Cobra parts put in there and a cam, the good like period correct mods. He's had the car for 10 years, but he had a mechanic go through the car a little while back, and I have a list of stuff I found going after this mechanic.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna let you guys know. Here's some
We're
fun
not
stuff.
naming said mechanic,
Nope.
are we?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. We're not gonna do that.
Good.
So did a fuel pressure test, only 30 psi, should be 38 to 41, so we're already in a bad situation. This car runs extremely rich, like fouls plugs immediately, all kinds of issues. The ECU's been swapped out, but this is just me tearing it apart because I get to test the injectors. Wrong bolts in the intake manifold. Every intake manifold bolt was different.
Oh.
We're already off to a bad start.
Okay.
Many of the coolant hoses were wrapped with electrical tape.
That's not proper.
Yeah, the intake manifold gasket was reused.
Okay.
So instead of just swapping out a gasket, he put the old one in there,
Yeah.
and where it had ripped apart, he used a blue RTV and put it in the gaps and sandwiched it all
Wow.
together.
Is his name Bubba? I think we know his name.
I can't imagine
I have no
that
idea.
like those gaskets are particularly
So
expensive.
it's tricky. It is more expensive because you have to get the Cobra, which was only a 93, because it is a Cobra intake manifold.
Got it.
So you
Okay.
have to get that. So what he did was probably order from the parts store, tell him what car he had. They gave him a 1989 gasket, which doesn't look the same at all, and he was like, "Nah, we'll just reuse this bad boy."
Yeah.
No vacuum leaks at the intake manifold. That's fine.
Nope.
The worst was the throttle body gasket was ripped then used RTV to stick it together, and then on top of that, it was the wrong throttle body gasket. So it has the Cobra throttle body gasket, which is bigger.
Okay.
He used the smaller one, and so the gasket was sticking in the airflow.
That's not
like
good.
a good few
Which
millimeters.
negates the whole idea of
Yeah.
Cobra anything.
And who knows what it's doing to the actual airflow? The air is hitting that, and then kind of
Sure.
stuff like that, right? And then the worst thing is he replaced like 10 sensors, and I Googled car running rich just to see where this guy figured out his stuff. The first generic website I found had his sensors as possible culprits in the order he listed them on the receipt that he charged my friend to
Interesting.
replace. So he found the first website you Google, not just for Mustangs, not
Just
for
for
Fox bodies,
miscellaneous, yeah.
car running rich.
Quora.com.
And he replaced every sensor.
You're
And
talking like coolant temp sensor and
all the general exhaust gas temp. The ECU was replaced with a parts store one. So this is what
like a
I'm
Cardone rebuild, yeah.
unburying. So yeah, that's what I did this week for my PCP.
wow, it's like
You just made a
you're
shit
like
list, basically.
detective.
So first I had to put the mystery together, right? Like what had been done, what sensors, and now I'm finding all this. I'm like, so I'm testing my plan of action. Injectors getting flow tested, so we make sure we're good there. And then after that, we'll put it back together. If I need to get the ECU chipped and tuned, that's probably where we're going to go next. But I need to make sure the injectors aren't stuck, or because he said I took them off and cleaned them, which scares the crap out of me. Like you can't run brake clean through an injector and put it back on.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you can.
It's also curious too because it's like Homeboy's already putting like incorrect gaskets and stuff on it. You
Yeah.
think, and it's like it's already mishmashed of parts. So it's like, well, it's an '89, but it's got 93 Cobra bits and pieces, and it's got a rebuilt ECU from God knows what, from
And a cam.
from Pep Boys, and a mystery cam, and it's like
Franken
destined to
Bubba.
fail.
It is. But
Yeah.
boy, these shortcuts are scary things.
So how much are you gonna like disassemble to refix?
I mean,
Whatever it takes, right?
I don't want to pull the cam, but I have the valve covers off because they were leaking anyway. The gaskets, he didn't bother replacing those. I'm going to put a real intake manifold gasket. Obviously, everything's going back together, right? But
Right.
you have to take the intake manifold off to get to the fuel injectors. So that's where I am now. It could involve, fuel pressure regulator, fuel pump, and ECU. Probably.
Where do they stash the fuel pressure regulator on that? Is it like up on like the back of the intake?
Yeah, it's right up in the front or in the rear of the engine, so
Yeah.
you can get to it pretty easy.
Is it pretty easy to work on that engine?
It's a little rough because it has aftermarket headers, so the spark plugs are even hard to get to. So, and it's not actually that much space under the hood when you start adding everything. You had to take
Right.
the bracing off, and then nothing's stock, so nothing really makes sense when you look up stock parts. You have to be smart about it. So.
Sure.
And never glue, especially intake manifold gaskets or throttle body gaskets. Those are very important seals. It
Yeah,
just
just
scares the
like-
crap. Worst places to have vacuum leaks. Period.
Right. Yeah. Because it's just it's not.
Dude, it was
Well,
bad.
you'll never find them.
That's what I mean.
I'll show you guys some photos after this. You're gonna be like, oh.
Wow.
I sent them to my buddy, and he's like, oh, okay, good to know.
I do have some experience with 5-liter Mustangs. So I conned my dad into buying me a Trans Am when I was 17.
Sure.
My younger brother, 2 years later, conned my dad into buying him a brand new Mustang GT.
Ooh.
So it was an 84. So
Okay.
not
Okay.
super fast. It was when the
Right.
5-liter was starting to get.
It was like
become
155 horsepower.
Yeah,
or something?
175.
175.
And his was a
Okay.
manual, so I liked his car.
That's cool.
T5.
And then 20 years later, after a late night of Craigslist surfing, I bought an 84 Mustang GT convertible, the 20th anniversary
Okay.
edition.
Nice.
And it had a few mods like Recaro seats, and it was all, pretty cool. Once I bought it, I was like, now what do I do with this stupid thing? So I put it back up on Craigslist. Sold it to a guy in Denmark who still has it, which we
Wow.
can talk about that.
Heck
Yeah.
If you have me
Guest-
back again at some other point. But
Maybe.
yeah, that's a big maybe.
We'll see how many 4-letter words are used in
My-
the commentary from the peanut gallery.
Exactly. Who the hell was that guy? My brother's car did catch on fire one time
Oh,
while we were in San
that's
Francisco.
a
And I
spicy
took the
horse.
fire extinguisher and I just held it down till it was out, and then prayed that the car would not
Self-molate again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good
That
times.
sounds like you're working on a fun project though. With
Oh,
the
it's
5-liter.
super fun. I can't wait. Well, we'll find out when we get the injectors back and put it all back together and go from there.
And are those headers smog legal or no?
So they are. Yeah, it's like really premium parts. So everything he's done, he's never had problems with smog. Putting the intake manifold on the Cobra apparently didn't mess up smog either. So it's stock injectors and stock MAF size because everything's MAF is matched to injectors for those muscle that era of pony car.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see. I just want to get it running for him. Been his car for like 10 years, and He's getting screwed over by not so good shops and mechanics. So I'm gonna.
It's funny to be like, oh yeah, we've got all these really premium parts, and then just like dollar store.
Oh, everything was parts
Stuff to
store.
put it back together,
And you
yeah.
swap me out MAFs and all the sensors that do so much work. You don't just take the cheapest one at the parts store
Right.
on a whim. So
Right, that's
yeah.
not matched to what the rest of the car is. So yeah,
That's
Good
my
times.
project right now. Very good times.
Well, speaking of good times, I think I'm gonna step out on a limb, and I'm going to say that today's episode was a successful one. We've got our first guest. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Graham.
Yeah, thanks a ton for joining
Thank
us,
you
man.
for listening to
hanging
my
out.
many and random stories.
It's okay.
Car adventures.
And misadventures.
Yes,
Yes,
misadventures.
that's kind of what
Yes.
we do here. So thanks to the gang here at Car Park for putting up with us and hosting us again,
always fun to hang out
giving us a
here.
place to play and eat a large bowl of candy.
Yeah,
Chat,
which is about half gone now.
if people want to see what you're up to, you're doing the Instagram thing, right? Are you on there? Where are
I
you at
am.
on that?
I'm the organized garage.
Boy, look, there's a theme here because I'm the photographer's garage.
That's right.
Chadwick, what are you?
Auto obsessive garage.
Oh boy, this is
Wow,
Yes.
it's fate.
the three
Yeah.
amigos.
Three garage.
got it figured out.
dudes.
Garage
Yes.
Bros, bro.
Yes, yes.
So that's it. And of course, collectively, this here is at APA Podcast on Instagram. We rarely post, so force our hand, bug us there, so we will be better about that. Thanks for hanging out and listening. And yeah, we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah, thanks guys. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.